Hi, everyone. I'm Sydney. I'm the Assistant Dean for Communications for CAS. And I am here really as a resource for all faculty within CAS as your kind of first stop of when you're trying to figure out how to get information about your research out. My office is me and my communications associate, Leah, and a few interns. And I will share my screen to explain a little bit more about us. So can everyone see this? So we are me, Leah, and we have a graduate assistant who does video and several undergraduate interns who are dedicated to each division in the college. And we produce the Arts and Sciences magazine, the annual report, newsletters for alumni and friends, newsletters for faculty and staff. We oversee the Arts and Sciences website and also the social media feeds. And within that, we do a lot of kind of faculty-oriented themes for social media. We do a Major Monday, we do Terrier Tuesdays, showcasing students, and then Throwback Thursdays and Faculty Fridays. And we're also starting a series about kind of courses and experiential learning. So stay tuned for that. And really, we're here to help. We want to hear what you're doing. We want to hear about new research and publications and interesting projects, events and conferences and innovative student work. Really anything that you're working on, we're hoping you can share it with us so that we can share it with others. And we really are your first stop. So if you're a CAS faculty member or grad student, we would love to hear from you, and then we can pass along relevant information to the Brink and to BU Today, to Andrew and Catherine, and they will share more about what they do in a bit. And they are also a resource to help publicize your research, and also the Office of Research has a series of workshop videos and case studies and then other information that can be helpful for you as well. So I'm happy to share this presentation or share any of the links here and to answer any questions that anyone might have. So I will let everyone else go, and then please feel free to reach out to me directly or to ask questions in the chat.
Great. Well, thank you, Sydney. Lots of interesting opportunities here for our faculty. So next up, going from the most major, from all of CAS to just CISS, we'd like to introduce our amazing communications intern, Lily Belisle, who we say makes the center look bigger and better because of her amazing social media skills. And part of that is helping to publicize the work of our faculty affiliates and the social scientists. So we will give Lily the floor now.
Thank you so much. Let's see. I'm so excited to be here, first of all. I'm just going to see if I can share my screen. Oh, it's saying I'm a participant, so I don't have screen sharing access. Oh, there we go.
I know.
Thank you. Yes, perfect. Let's see. Oh, okay. Can everyone see that? Oh,
Just says loading on our end.
oh, it says loading. Resume share. Oh, what about now? It's not.
Oh, now we see it.
Now you see it? Okay, I'm not sure what's going on when I go to here. Yes, still good?
Just the loading screen. You can present without being in the presenter mode if that's helpful.
Okay, I guess I can just do this. You can see this?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. But I can start here. So yeah, I can get started. My name, as Professor Carr said, is Lily Belisle. I'm a sophomore majoring in sociology within the College of Arts and Sciences. And I've been the Center's communications intern for almost a year now. And so it's been really exciting to see how the center's grown from really small and starting to finally move into our physical space. And really just continuing to connect with other centers and other organizations across campus. And so I am really excited to be here. And so first, I just wanted to give a little bit of an overview of like what I'll be speaking on. So as Professor Carr and Deanna mentioned, I will be just kind of giving a little bit of an overview of some of the different channels that we as a center offer to support faculty and grad students and undergrad students in promoting your work. And so I will give a little bit of a brief overview of all of these, but as mentioned, please always feel free to reach out to me or the center email in general, which I will link at the end. And also, we're always looking for feedback and suggestions on further ways that we can better support you. And so, as always, that is another thing that I just wanted to make clear from the beginning. But so one of the first ways that we can really work to publicize your work is if you become a center affiliate. And so this is available to grad students and faculty as well as postdocs. And this is a really, really simple process. It's linked in on our website. And so it's just a brief application of a couple questions. I think it's a little bit about your research you're involved in and what your work is. And so that immediately opens you up to a lot of the opportunities to participate in center activities, networking, access to center research support and services, as well as media outreach. And not that you don't have access to these if you're not an affiliate, you absolutely do. This can just kind of help to ensure that you're on our radar. So we're always tracking your publications, what you're involved in, and just make sure that is happening as it is. Oh yes, perfect. Thank you for putting that in the chat. And also another thing that we do with our center affiliates is we do a affiliate of the month every month. And so I think we're alternating between faculty every other month and a grad student every other month. And so this has been a really cool way to further spotlight the work and the projects that our affiliates and U social science community is involved in. And so I've included, this is an example of a feature of the month. This is with Dr. Goayad in the sociology department. This was our June affiliate of the month. And so if you're an affiliate of the month, we have a month-long feature on our website, as well as you'll conduct a little brief interview with me, and that can either be via email or in person or Zoom, very flexible, and really just hoping to cater to you and publicizing, a little brief sneak peek of what all you're involved in an effort to generate interest to go back to your social media accounts or your website to garner people really excited about what you're doing. We also do Q&As with many other people that aren't affiliates. And so it's been so exciting and a pleasure to do Q&As over the last year with a number of different people that are connected to our center. And so if you have a publication coming out soon, a new book, or anything that you're excited about, always feel free to reach out to me. And we do these features a lot, and it's a really fun way to build community and get to know what you're doing a little bit more, as well as feature that. We also have a working paper series, and so this was recently launched, and it's a way to, or it's designed to publicize work that hasn't been quite accepted into an academic journal yet, or it's not officially published, but it's very polished. You're ready to start sharing that. And this allows you to have the option to have that cited, or you can share the link. So if you wanted to share that on your social media or your website, or whichever it may be, you can include a link to where we'll house that publication in the meantime on our website. So that's a really cool opportunity. And then next, I'll kind of go into some of the different pages we have on our website that are specifically designed to showcase and highlight the work that you're doing. All of these are kind of different branches of different efforts to publicize different things that you're involved in. And so our first one is our publications page. And this is designed to showcase our recent publications in the BU social science community. And so these are, we have a story publication form, which is one way that you can share with us a recent publication that you've written or been involved with. And that can be found on our website, or I think also on our Twitter and Facebook, but I can also share that with you if you reach out later. But this is our publications page is just really a way to have a general one space that you can go to if you're interested in finding out what's going on in the social science community. And then we can have a list of all of the publications that are recent. And then it's my job as the person managing our social media accounts to then publicize this later. So our hope in doing that is to share, a recent publication on our Twitter and then allow you to retweet that or reshare that so that we have a product that you can then further circulate with the people in your community. And so that's one. The next one we have is, this is very similar. This is our in the media page. It's very similar to the publications page. It's just more focused on news articles and things in more of the like pop culture magazines. And so we have recently our director, Dr. Carr, was featured in BuzzFeed, I believe, and Dr. Kotlikoff in the economics department was in Forbes. So these are just a couple of examples. Many other very popular prestigious magazines. And so these are just another way to be tracking and making sure we're celebrating a lot of the things that you're involved in that people may not know about otherwise. Next, we have a page dedicated to honors and milestones. And so keeping with the theme of these other pages, we are really just interested in celebrating you and the work you're doing and allowing others to celebrate that too. And so this again, and I believe in our story promotion form that I can link later, you can also share honors and milestones. And so in addition to also just emailing us if you have something come up, but this form is a really easy way. If you have something come up and you would like to share it, you can just enter the details and then we'll automatically add that to our website and share it on our social media accounts. So this is really cool as well. And then finally, this kind of touches on everything else that I've mentioned up until this point, but I am as communications intern, I am primarily managing our Twitter, our Facebook, and our Instagram. And so our Instagram is more catered to an undergrad demographic. And so I think that wouldn't apply to many of you. But our Twitter and Facebook are often where you can find recent publications, news articles on things happening around campus. You can find opportunities or events going on. We also try to closely work with the College of Arts and Sciences and other centers, the Communications Research Center, other similar adjacent centers to kind of work and publicize each other's events. And so that's a really cool way to find out about things that you may not know about happening. And this is also where our Q&A features sometimes get featured on our Instagram and also on our Twitter and Facebook. So if you'd like, feel free to give us a follow, and we would always love to feature you on these accounts. So please reach out. And that is everything I have for today. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here again. And if you have any questions or any suggestions or anything you'd like to be publicized via the center, always feel free to reach out.
Fantastic, thank you. So we will go on to our next presenter, and then we'll save our questions and conversations for the end. And so coming up next, we are proud to have Andrew Thurston here. And Andrew is the mastermind behind The Brink, which is a really rich research publication here at BU. And so we're thrilled to hear about ways that you can help amplify the work our faculty are doing.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Lily, for a great presentation. So my name is Andrew. I'm the editor of The Brink. I've been at BU for close to 15 years. Most recently, I was directing our Alumni and School College magazine team. So I'm actually the former editor of the CAS magazine. I know the college really well. I've been editor of the Brink since January. As Professor Carr said, the Brink is BU's research news site. You can find us at bu.edu/the Brink. We're part of the same office and team producing BU Today, which is the daily news email you will receive, and also Bostonia, which is our main alumni magazine. Our main goal with the Brink is to show how faculty and students are on the cutting edge of new discoveries, advancing new scholarship. Our audience is really broad. It includes students, faculty, staff, but also funders, government officials, journalists, peer institutions, the general public. We have a couple of million views every year, which is a huge number. So there's a lot of people coming to our site. I thought today I'd talk about the questions that I've been asked the most since starting this role. The first one is, when should I send a story to you? And the second is, what stories are you interested in? So that's what I thought I'd talk a little bit about today. You may have seen this figure elsewhere, but BU researchers and scholars publish something like 6,000 papers every year. On the Brink, we run about 120 stories, so it's a big gap. So there are some questions that we typically ask ourselves when we're trying to figure out, should we cover this story or that story? And you might find them helpful before thinking about whether to send something to us. The first is, does a study or paper outline a significant breakthrough or new idea? Is it going to make headlines? Also, are you one of the lead authors? We don't want to promote something on behalf of another university. We'll let them do that, and then we can share it on social media. Is the paper in a really top level journal? Is this a mainstream book? Does this work fit with one of BU's strategic or research priorities? If you don't mind me reading for a second, BU's research priorities are data sciences, engineering biology, global health, infectious disease, neuroscience, photonics, and urban health. And the last question we ask is a paper timely, or could you provide expert comment on something that's happening in the news based on your work? The more of those criteria story hits, the more likely we are to dig in. But, and this is partly why I'm here today, we're expanding our coverage. We don't want to just be doing those kinds of pieces all the time. We don't get to cover the social sciences, the humanities, communications, media, the arts, as much as we'd like to, or as much as I think we should. And I know that's true for BU Today too. When we do, we can produce really, really beautiful pieces. We had a piece last week on Peter Blake's research on kids and risk-taking. We had some great pieces earlier this year on Jessica Syme's incarceration research. I know history doesn't always fit in social sciences. For some people it does, but we had a piece on the history of the ice trade earlier this year, where we were able to do a video, a feature article, photography. If you're on our site last week, you see a similar piece for a PhD student who is revamping a historic homes tour and education materials. We also had a piece on an anthropologist's study of Mayan latrines in Guatemala, which seems really niche, but turned out to be a really huge hit for us. And the Association of American Universities reached out to us to say that when they shared the story, it was a huge hit for them as well. I also want to highlight the researchers who are just interesting people. Perhaps they're not producing headline-grabbing studies or papers, but they're doing cool work or bringing an unusual perspective to what they do. I always give this example. It's not of a social scientist, it's of a biologist. A couple of years ago, I was writing a piece for the Arts and Sciences magazine about somebody who studies sea urchins. Really worthwhile work, but kind of niche. And at the end, I asked the same question that I ask every interview, which is, what did I miss? What didn't we talk about? What should I have asked you? And she said, well, I really like Lego. And it turned out she really, really did like Lego. Her office was full of Lego. Her basement was full of Lego. Her house was full of Lego. And we did this beautiful piece with photography, with a video, talking about how her hobby influenced her research and how it shaped her as a person. That went on to be a big Bostonia profile. It won a whole bunch of awards. And it wasn't somebody we were profiling because they were doing big studies. It wasn't someone we were profiling because we were hoping to get thousands of people reading the story. It was someone doing good, interesting work and doing it in an interesting way. Usually when I talk to faculty, I share our biggest stories of the year, and I'm not actually going to do that today because I want to talk about some of our kind of surprise hits, the stories that we didn't expect to do well and did. One is about a researcher at Sargent, actually, who studies anemia treatment in India and how you get more women to come along to the treatment and take it seriously. That story ended up getting 54,000 people looking at it. We didn't expect it to get more than maybe a few thousand. We had a student opinion piece, which was about animal welfare, tying in their research that they do on animal welfare and what people can do to support conservation efforts that have 15,000 views. And I'm sharing that because we talk a lot about numbers and views and hits in the publishing world now, and they're nice, but we want to think beyond the numbers. We want to shine light on everything that's happening at BU. And sometimes the story that we do can help lift up an area of scholarship. It can help build an important relationship with you. Just this year, we did a lot of work on some work with the College of Engineering, with a group of engineers who are hoping to win NSF funding. We did stories about their research and the work that they were doing, ended up being really crucial in them winning new funding. So sometimes we can work with you not just when you have research coming out, but when you have hopes of doing something. It can be a way of lifting your profile and shining a light on the work that you do. One last thing I want to say, and you may hear this from Catherine, who follows me, is that sometimes people call us when their paper is about to go out or their book is about to go out. They get a note from the publisher saying the press release is ready, you can send it out. And we'll try and help if we can at that point. But usually if you're calling us when something is about to go out, it's a little bit too late. The more notice we have, the more we can do. We can do more involved stories, we can do videos, we can do feature pieces. We respect all embargoes. So if you let us know, we don't tell anyone else. You can call us before you submit the paper even, and we can begin the process then. Like the other presenters, I'm happy to stay on at the end and answer some questions, but hope this has been a helpful overview of the Brink for you. Thank you.
Great, fantastic. I just looked up the Lego person. Very interesting. Thank you for that. Again, so next up, we have Thalia. Let's see.
With Catherine.
Oh, Catherine, there we go. Oh, Catherine Gianni, of course. Yes. And so there you are, Catherine Gianni, who does amazing work for BU regarding social media and a range of other ways to help publicize our work. So the floor is yours, Catherine.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Debbie. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen really quick and get this presentation started. Okay. And everyone can see that? Great. So I am going to be giving an overview about working with the Boston University PR and social media team. So as Debbie so kindly said, just to introduce myself, my name is Catherine Gianni, and I am the Assistant Director for Public Relations and Social Media with the Central PR Social team. Just a little bit about me. I have been a Terrier for a long time. I received my undergrad degree from the College of Communication and Journalism. I've held a number of different positions on the PR social team. And prior to that, I was working as the communications manager for the Elie Wiesel Center over on Bay State Road. I'm also pursuing my master's right now through the Metropolitan College in Met. So I've been around BU for quite a while, not as long as Andrew, but it's been wonderful. And my role within the team at this moment really focuses in on promoting faculty research and thought leadership across all of the schools and colleges at BU. But I will say, certainly don't work alone on the main PR social team. I work very closely with all of these folks on screen. We are currently a team of 6, and we sit within the main marketing and communications team at 985 Com Ave. Some of these folks you may have worked with previously, or you may know from around campus. My colleague Rachel Lapella Cavalario is on this call, as well as my colleague Leah Plata. We all work very closely together. And I did want to note right at the top is there are a number of ways to get in touch with our office, but one of the best ways, other than reaching out to us directly, is our PR inbox. It's pr@bu.edu. So if you ever have a question, whether it be after this presentation or you're looking for ways to promote your event, or as Andrew said, carve out time ahead of time of a research release, or maybe a paper that's been accepted to be published, we want to hear from you. So please always feel free. We always say there's no such thing as too many emails. So please feel free to reach out at pr@bu.edu for any follow-up. So starting from the top, our team prides ourselves yourselves in navigating your unique communications needs. So just a few high-level takeaways. We collaborate very closely with a number of communications teams from all schools and colleges at BU. Sydney serves as a great example. We work closely together on promoting faculty research. We publicize research and news, promote faculty thought leadership. We work with individuals to develop unique social media strategies. We'll also work on media trainings and consultations. And while we hope you never run into a crisis or an issue on social or with your research, we do handle crisis communications and general counseling to support you if any issues arise. But I want to dive specifically to start in promoting research and news. So collaborating closely with my team members, we are always looking for new events. So whether it's something that's student-centered, if maybe your center or your college or school is hosting a high-profile speaker, if you have something regarding industry or research breakthroughs, we're always looking for ways to hear about new happenings on campus, and we can promote through our editorial partners, which is BU Today, the Brink, as Andrew mentioned, Bostonia, as well as social media. So my colleague Dave oversees the main BU social channels, BU Tweets on Twitter, Boston U on Instagram. My colleague Carol oversees the international social media program, so promoting on Weibo or WeChat. We really want to make sure the community understands what's happening from all angles. And then we also work on social and through traditional media outreach to announce, prestigious grant announcements, awards, or fundings, tying faculty expertise into the news cycle with discoveries or new perspectives, and of course, research coming out and other partnerships and collaborations. So it's always so important to know your research really has an impact. As Andrew really nicely mentioned, the sooner we know about something that's been accepted, or if you are submitting a piece of research to be published, if you can, send us an email or call us, reach us directly, just to let us know that this is coming out, that allows us more time to get our ducks in a row in terms of our promotional strategy. We'll work with you to identify a target audience, both on social and in terms of media reporters who cover a beat, who might be interested in covering something that you have coming out. We'll also work to crystallize that messaging and content on your social channels. And then, of course, we conduct active outreach in terms of media pitching. I will say our office, we will take a look at any press release materials you have if you'd like a second set of eyes. Our office has moved away from sending out traditional press releases. We prefer to use editorial content such as a Brink story or a BU Experts Medium piece, which I'll talk about in a moment, to really highlight the findings if we are pursuing an internal piece. But just as an aside, there are many ways, and we want to make sure we're distilling the information in a way that's creative and engaging for a host of internal audiences as well as external media reporters. So turning over to thought leadership, one facet of our office I really wanted to highlight was our BU Experts database. This is a searchable database that lives on our website, and it's really accessible to members of the media and other influencers. Folks can go on to our site, that's bu.edu/prsocial, and search by first and last name, search by specific expertise area or the school or college you're a part of, if they are looking for a faculty member to quote for a story or another projects. My colleague Thalia Plata oversees this endeavor on our site. There's a Google form that you can fill out or work with a member of your school or college's communications team to help fill out. But she can be reached again directly or at pr.bu.edu if you have any questions. And then, of course, there's a number of ways that we promote internally. I know Andrew gave that great overview of the Brink. We also have our BU Experts Medium channel, where we will often connect with faculty members for timely Q&As plugged into the present news cycle. That screenshot there is a piece that we worked on about environmental health and how to stay safe as temperatures rose this summer. We also work on different interactive graphics and elements to share on social media. We usually have, in-depth tagging strategies to reach out to reporters or other folks, academic journals, peer institutions, collaborators who might be interested in, seeing your perspective. And it's just another fun and more visual way to kind of get the buzz about your expertise, and then in turn be able to connect with folks that might be interested in covering your work or learning more about it. We also work very closely with faculty on op-ed consulting and placement. A publication we work frequently with is The Conversation, and my colleague Belia could also answer more questions about that during the Q&A. But again, we're always happy to take a look at any sort of op-ed drafts that you might have, to start from scratch about the process, kind of thinking about different angles or different publications you might want to pitch to. All those things we can certainly work to meet your needs. And then social strategy, just a few more details. We're also offering social media auditing. We work with individuals to establish their tone and identity, as well as organizations. A great example is the new naming of medical school, recent news at the end of last week. So we worked with their team to create a social media toolkit to go over organizational tone around the news, strengthening influencer engagement, mapping out or refining your content pipeline, and collaborating on some other fun social events such as Reddit AMAs. So I just think it's important to note we work with faculty members at all stages of social media engagement. So whether you've been on Twitter for 10 years, or if you're somebody that is trying to figure it out and you're just starting, we can really meet you where you're at and help to really refine posting strategies and achieve the goals that you want through that social channel. And one other thing I really wanted to point out was our Reddit Ask Me Anything pipeline and strategy. You'll see from the screenshots here, we had the joy of participating with Deborah Carr. So she very recently worked on an activation with us on grief, loss, and stress during the COVID-19 pandemic. These are live Q&As that we host on Reddit through the AMA or Ask Me Anything subreddit. And they aim to bring a community of interested people to one spot to ask questions of an expert. It's an opportunity to really, provide personal information, but also a really high level overview of your expertise on a particular subject area. We have a very in-depth promotional strategy. We reach out to, your affiliate organizations, academic journals you may have been published in, media reporters you may have worked with, through a number of different social media pushes to get the buzz about the activation. And our conversations have garnered a lot of engagement. They have led to media interviews. We produce a BU Experts Medium Q&A at the end of each. And it's kind of a fun new way to get the word out about your work. As I said, we have Deborah's activation, but we've also worked with faculty on subjects ranging from cannabis to environmental health, mental health, and all the rest. So if you're interested in learning more, I'd be more than happy to chat with you. We're always looking for new folks to participate. And then a brief overview of our media trainings. We have a number of resources at your disposal, customized trainings, and a broadcast studio over at One Silver Way. So if you're ever needing a space to conduct a media interview, or you'd like to host a training in a more real world environment, that is absolutely available. There's a lot of online resources too about our trainings. Again, on our website, bu.edu/prsocial, and our research website, if you're looking for additional examples, bu.edu/research. I will say too, again, we hope you never find yourself in a crisis, but those materials are also available if you'd like to take a look. Everything from, responses to social media accusations to what to do if you're being trolled on a particular platform. We're also happy to help connect for additional consultations as well, should you need that in the future. And the final thing I wanted to mention is we have a strategic communication series coming up. It's October 12th from 3 to 4. Kevin Anselmo is the founder of a consultancy called Experiential Communications, and he's going to be joining us for a remote meeting. It's an interactive workshop to learn about Twitter and LinkedIn strategy, how to have your messages really resonate with your target audiences on those platforms. There is a live registration link for this virtual event on the BU Research website. We're also going to be sending out some additional materials from our office and sharing on social. So please make sure you're following our channels. We would love to have as many participants as possible. Kevin seems really wonderful. He's an industry expert, and we will be collabing with the Office of Research on this. So would love to have you join us. And that is it for me. Thank you so much for listening, and can definitely move into the Q&A at this point.
Great, thank you. So many exciting options, some of which were new to us. So it's really amazing. And I can attest how incredibly helpful you and your office were when I did a Reddit AMA, because I had never heard of it before you reached out. It was a really great opportunity. So thank you for that. So what we'll do now is just open the floor to questions, and Diana and I can help call on folks as we see their hands.
You can also type things into the chat if you'd rather me read them out.
Yep, Tanya has a hand.
Hi, thank you so much for this really informative presentation. I'm new to BU, I'm a postdoctoral researcher, and I had a question. I forget who said it, it might have been Andrew, that we should reach out before we have something accepted to publication. So to me, that kind of sounds like putting, putting the cart before the horse. Like, I have a bunch of papers for my dissertation, which I think are interesting, on that I'll be submitting relatively soon in the next few months. And so when is the sort of right time to think about publicizing my work?
So that's a great question. I think that what's helpful for us is just to be connected with you as you're starting that process, so that we know where you're at and what's coming. For us there's so much research happening at BU, it's a good chance for us to build a relationship with people that we perhaps don't know. Then as you start getting closer to, oh, this is actually happening and this piece is going to be published, that's when we can kind of formalize that connection a bit more and start talking about, okay, so what do we want to do with this piece? Where is it going to go? What kind of publication date are we looking at? And then we can time our story. The goal always is to time our story so that it publishes at the day that your embargo lifts. So when the journal publishes, or the place that you're publishing puts the story up, that we can have a story ready to go at the same time. And then that means that Catherine mentioned that we don't really do press releases at BU. It means that our story becomes the press release to that. So they can send it out in advance of the journal publication as an embargo piece to say, this is somebody, to the Boston Globe, this is someone that you might be interested in covering, or this is a paper you might be interested in writing about. So you're right, at that point where you're getting ready to submit papers, we're perhaps not ready to start putting pen to paper and interviewing you, but it's nice to know that you have things in the works and that you have stuff coming up. But as you kind of get to that more formal publication stage, that's definitely the point to really connect with us and let us know. And that gives us a head start on things.
Thank you.
Joanna?
Joanna, yep.
Thanks. And thanks everyone for this really useful information. It's not something that we're as faculty ever trained to think about much when we think about our own publications. So I wanted to do a follow-up question for Andrew as well on timing, but also the other kinds of things that you talked about in terms of strategic priorities for research. So you did mention a list of strategic priorities that do seem to put the brink very much, and as I've seen it, in the more STEM world. You indicated that you're interested, and the pieces that you mentioned that come maybe more from social sciences, and I'm saying this in a social science crowd here, even those tend a little bit more towards what we might think of as leaning towards quantitative social science, or at least the kinds of social science where you can say there are findings, rather than the humanistic social sciences where I come from. So I'm wondering how you think through the your stated openness to say we want to cover more social sciences and humanities, and then how you balance that with the strategic priorities, and just sort of thinking through how we do that in terms of reaching out to you, how we identify what we're doing in a way that makes sense, but doesn't sort of put our research into a box that it's not in terms of trying to spin it in a way that sounds like it's more what is conventional science when it really is humanities.
Yeah, I think that that's a great point. So the Brink was founded by a science writer, and my predecessor was a science writer. And I think that especially during the last couple of years, that's really the direction that it's taken, because COVID has kind of forced that a little bit, that a lot of the work that we have tried to lift up and that people have wanted us to lift up has been COVID related. And so it's really kind of pushed us in a science STEM route. I think also when you look at what BU's research priorities, and I'm not talking about strategic priorities, they are STEM. We are talking more to engineers and medical professors than we are to historians, social scientists. That's true. But I think that there's still opportunities to lift up scholarship. And I say scholarship rather than research in that sense, because I think that there are ways that we can do that, but it's definitely new for us a little bit. It's something I've done more as an editor of college magazines, as the College of Arts and Sciences magazine editor. That was definitely more in our wheelhouse, and that was something that we did. And I think that probably my recommendation as we're feeling this out, Sydney has not kind of come into the Q&A yet, but for many of you, she's going to be a great first step. So Catherine and I are presenting, and we coordinate very closely with Sydney, but I think a lot of the time she's going to be the first person that most of you connect with to say, here's what I've got, where should I be going with it? And then I think in terms of, if you get to the point where you're calling me, it's probably just us getting on a phone call or having an email exchange and finding out what you're doing and what the possibilities of that could be for us. Maybe the work that you do provokes a different kind of feature for us. Maybe we're actually going to start a new point of view or opinion piece where it's not just someone giving their opinion, but they're talking about the work they do and how that shapes their thinking, or how it shapes their thinking on a particular issue. And there might be some other routes that we can go. We also have a new podcast. So there's other ways that we can cover work. And maybe it turns out that it's not a piece for the Brink, but it's a piece for BU Today, or it's a piece for the Alumni magazine. And the BU Today office is right next to mine, and the Bostonia office is the other side. So we have these connections that we can help you make.
I want to jump in as well, just to reiterate that that we are trying to do a better job with it as an Arts and Sciences Communications office to really cover everything that's going on in all the departments and all of the new research. And we really are trying to focus on and feature more faculty members than we have in the past. And so I really do hope that you'll reach out to us when you have stories to share, or and we're happy to connect you, as Andrew said, to them if it feels like that's the right fit, or else we can work on something ourselves if it's not the right fit. The Mayan latrine story that Andrew mentioned before was something that I pitched to them, that I said, I think this would be a fun story for the Brink. And so that's an example of kind of how we work together. And then they publicize some a story that they wouldn't necessarily have done. So please do reach out in the future.
If I may just jump back in, the other thing that we're doing too is that, and you'll see this pop up a little bit more, is that we're trying to do more profiles of researchers or faculty members too. So just recently we had a piece about, this is a lot more researchy, but a School of Social Work professor who studies treatment of alcohol use disorders. And we also had a piece on a law professor who studies how intellectual property law influences creativity. So we didn't necessarily just write about their research, we also wrote about them as people and how they come to their work and some of the issues that they're thinking about and how they think through those problems. So they might be other approaches that would be appropriate for some of the folks in this center.
Great. While we're looking for hands on the side or chat, I have a question that might apply to a number of our participants here today. So sometimes there's just some story in the news cycle that comes up out of the blue, and the media are looking for the quote or the insight from a scholar. And so a perfect example is Ariana Chernock when the Queen died, right? And so how do you collectively, right? This question is for all of you specifically, a couple of you. How do you make those connections? Something happens in the news, there's a BU expert, they're not in the expert database. how do you make those linkages? Or what can our faculty do to increase effective linkages?
I would say that if you are someone who is studying something that you see in the news, to please reach out to us, to one of us, to me first, or to Andrew and his team, and Catherine especially. I think that I often get requests from BU Today, from John O'Rourke, for faculty members who are experts in something, and I'll reach out to chairs of those departments, or I will look through faculty listings. But if you do see something kind of related to your research, please do reach out, and also add yourself to the BU experts list in advance so that that we see your name there.
Yeah,
I will just,
oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
Catherine, you can go first.
Oh, I was just going to basically echo exactly what Sydney said. We have a couple of faculty, a few that really come to mind from a variety of schools and colleges that are really great. When something comes up in the news that's related to their expertise, whether it be tax fraud or history in some capacity, politics, something happening in the political world, I see that email come through my inbox. It's like, hey, just in case you hear anything, because we have reporters that email us on a daily basis, that call us on a daily basis, and they're saying, hey, I'm working on this story, something just happened, I need to talk to a sociologist, do you have any recommendations? So because those come across our office so frequently, we're always searching. Some of the first passes that we even do is go to the database and just type in a few keywords. So yes, please, if you think of it, you can be proactive about just letting us know that you're interested. We would love to hear from you and really keep you top of mind when those opportunities come up.
To echo what Catherine was going to say, I was going to say that if you're in the BU experts database, I also get some of the PR emails that you all send out, which is really great because it tells me who's in the news. So there's even pieces that I found for Debbie that she did not tell me were coming out. She's like, oh, I didn't know that was coming out today. But it was really helpful because I could already have it on the publications page or like in the media section. So, signing up for the database gets you people, but it also allows people like me to promote your work and promote when you were in the media much more easily. So again, just big plug for the BU experts database in general. But Andrew, you have your hand raised as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it made me think of the question that Tanya asked about, reaching out early. And some of it is just to establish those relationships. And Tanya, I recommend the work that you're doing, that you reach out to Sydney and let her know what's happening, because sometimes that can be a clue as to what people are specializing in, what they're interested in. So when things come up, we know who to connect with. Probably in the next day or two, you'll see a story on BU Today about Kim Kardashian and crypto, because that was the email that was flying around our office this morning. And often what happens is that an email goes out from the editor of one of the sites saying, I've seen this in the news, who does everybody know? So some of it is just calling on people that we've worked with and that we have relationships with, as well as reaching out to people like Sydney. But a lot of it is just, this is someone I worked with, or this is someone that I know of. It's those relationships that we've established. Thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions? It's okay if you don't. Debbie, you're muted, by the way. I'm sorry. I saw that you were speaking.
Well, we're waiting. And do the panelists have questions for one another, or have you just thought of something you'd love to share that you didn't get a chance to share earlier?
Actually, I have a question for Lily. Lily, I thought you did a wonderful presentation, and I'd love to know a little bit about the kinds of things that you enjoy writing about and the things that you've enjoyed covering since you started your position.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. And I really enjoyed your presentation as well. I think one of my favorite things to write about has been the features on, I think, grad students, and often a lot of them, what I'll do sometimes is ask like a similar set of questions to a number of different students. And so a question that I often have asked them is, why does social science matter to you, or what does social science mean to you? And whether that's like an email response or like having a conversation with someone, hearing their response to that has been so interesting. And it's been really cool for me too, as an undergrad student, you know, thinking about what I might see myself going into, and like where my passions lie and all of that. And so it's been really cool to hear both the really wide range of how social science can show up in you know, a PhD candidate in the School of Public Health, or the you know, or a linguistics professor, like how social science can still like relate to those different disciplines. But it's really cool to see what people are doing and hear how excited people are, you know, people across the BU colleges, how just really hear what makes people excited. So that's been really cool. But also just different events going on, different projects that are really interdisciplinary or innovative in like doing new things. Those have also been really cool to learn more about.
So unless there are any lingering questions. Great. Well, let's give a big round of applause, either loud or in cartoon form, to our wonderful panelists.